everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited to have another edition of Wednesday with Weezy. And today's guest, she has gone all the way from retail, being a store training manager, to now she is taking life by storm and she's helping people organize their homes and their lives. So today, please welcome Candi Ruppert of Sage Sage Organizing Company. I wasn't going to flip that, but I did. So sorry.
Quite all right. Quite all right. Thank you.
And I forgot to say, she has a special title. She is the CPO of Sage Organizing Company.
Exactly.
So welcome, Candi. And you have to tell us, what is a CPO?
Well, thank you for having me on, first of all, Louise. I really appreciate it. A CPO is a certified professional organizer. I'm not just a regular organizer. I am a board certified professional organizer.
She's board certifiable.
Yeah, trust me, everybody's
we're gonna have. So, Candi, I saw it. We got together, and I'm just getting to know Candi a little bit, and I love her story of how she's gone from being the store trainer to now having her own organizing company. But it's been quite a journey. So can you tell us, start back in your store training management days, who did you work for and how long did you work for them?
Well, I worked for Barnes & Noble booksellers for about 15 years. When I started, I was actually a cash wrap supervisor, which was a $7 an hour position where I counted all the money. And by the time I left the company about 15 years later, I was a store training manager, which meant that everyone within the company that was hired at the district manager level or above came to my store to learn how to operate. Everything from running a cash register to loss prevention management, A to Z. They learned how to do it in my store.
Okay. So what caused you to leave this life of glamour and short work hours, I'm sure, being in retail?
Retail is notorious for its really easy work schedules. Yes, right. I was working a lot of retail hours. I was a store training manager, but I also had to run a retail store. So I was working nights, weekends, holidays. And my husband and I have a one and only child. And I was taking my daughter to school when it was dark and picking her up when it was dark because my husband travels. And it just wasn't worth it to me anymore. I was paying someone else to raise my child. And I said, enough. We are having one. I need to be able to spend some time with my child before, her childhood is gone. So this was right before the recession hit. And I said, money's not important. We can get by. And so I left my job. And then the recession hit. And then I realized about a year in that money is kind of important and good insurance was kind of important. So it was a little bit of a oops, but I would never go back in a million years.
So after you realized this happened, you shared with me that you went into being a wedding organizer, which, that can be quite undertaking, but you did yours with a twist. Can you?
I did, yes. For a number of years there, I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. For a number of years, I ended up being a wedding coordinator. Not as a business I started, but I had a friend of a friend who was getting married. It was her second wedding. And they said, oh, you should have Candi help with that sort of stuff. She loves that sort of thing. And she asked, and I, of course, accepted. And I ended up, being a wedding coordinator. And I absolutely loved it. The thing that I ended up doing is I specialized in second and third weddings, kind of encore weddings.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a fabulous niche. Would have been a fabulous niche to stay in because the brides are older. They have money. They don't.
That money part is kind of important.
Right. They don't have all the bridesmaids and all of the crazy parties and all of that stuff. They give you a budget and say, make it happen. And I absolutely loved it. but I was back to working nights and weekends again. And I knew that if I was going to go into business for myself, what I needed to do was something that I could still enjoy my kid and my time with my family on the weekends.
So after you did that, you shared with you went into you went from being this retail person and this wedding planner into the ultimate volunteer.
I was, yes. Like many, many moms out there, I walked in willingly to the volunteer trap, but man, it got me. I actually worked for, when I say work, I mean unpaid, for our neighborhood sports team. Our neighborhood swim team has about 175 athletes on it. And when I took over the team, we were still pencil and paper registration, no merchandise, all of that. So I took that team from that to, we had a fully built out website. We branded out the team, created logos that continue to be used, merchandise shops, job descriptions, you name it. We just totally revolutionized the team over the course of the 3-4 years that I was on it. But I was also working during swim season 60 hours a week, unpaid. And as many mom volunteers know, it's a thankless job. And I'm like, if I'm going to work this hard, I'm going to want to make some money doing it. So the thing that I realized, the through line in all of my jobs, was organization.
Okay, so that's so is that how you ended up? What you made this caveat that organization was through it. So there's so many different ways that you can organize. Just tell us about your journey and the course it took to lead you to where you are now.
Sure. Well, while all of these, things are going on, my daughter is moving through elementary school, and I knew she was going to be getting to the age where she wasn't going to need me as much when she started middle school and then later high school. And so I needed to figure out what I was going to do when I grew up, right? So I really sat back and took a hard look at myself and figured out what were the things that I enjoyed doing and what were the pieces of those jobs that made me enjoy them. So when I worked for Barnes & Noble, I did a lot of training plans and organizing and logistics and all of that. I was a Daisy Scout leader for some kindergartners for a couple years, and there was some organizing in there. Obviously, being a wedding coordinator involved a ton of logistics and organization, and the sports team. And so that was really the through line that went through all of these things. And I'm like, you know what? Then I look around my house, like I'm a pretty organized person. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot to be a professional organizer. I didn't really even know it was a job, like a profession, until I started researching it a little bit more. And the next thing you know, I had my shingle out and I was doing kitchens and closets and pantries and all sorts of jobs in the beginning.
So when did the Certified Professional Organizer, easier said than
exactly right,
put out, the Certified Professional Organizer certification, when did that come in?
Well, about 6 months into when I first started the business, I ended up doing a job where I was helping a friend who lived out of town clear out the home of her deceased father here in Charlotte. And I would go home every day tired and, beat up and happy because I knew I was making a difference in this person's life. And the light bulb went on. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not curing cancer. I'm not putting a man on Mars, but I am making a difference in somebody's life. I'm like, I need to take this seriously. Those first 6 months were kind of almost, I don't want to say a hobby, but I didn't know if it was going to stick. And that was when I knew it was time. So in my profession we have a national organization, NAPO, the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. And to gain certification with them, it's a rigorous process. You had to document 1,500 hours of client hours, 250 education hours, A ton of work went into it. So it's not like I could become certified on day one. 1,500 client hours, that's a lot of hours.
You just didn't go on the internet and fill out a form and being able to pack it up on your bulletin board and go, I can do this.
No, there was a lot of work. And it was actually a board certification exam. So, it was a standardized test. The other people that were there were taking the other licensing exams, and it was rigorous. There was a ton of organizing principles. I thought it would be super easy, but there was also project management, mental health issues, legal issues, a lot of things that I really had. I mean, I knew they were coming because I did a study group ahead of time, and it was a really hard exam, but I passed. Thank you, at the beginning of the summer. And I'm one of only 3 certified professional organizers in Charlotte right now.
Okay. So some of these things that you touch on, so you go in and you help people kind of get things organized, but I'm sure you said probably a bad way to say it, but the mental state, helping people process through it, I guess would be a better way to put it, because it's not like the Looney Tunes. I shouldn't say that either, but there's things that you're going through, stages of life, and it doesn't, I'm sure you meet people, dealing with it, like you said, a parent's death or a dissolved marriage, or just transitions in life in general. So, so the certification prepares you to, what do you do to help people alleviate some of the stress when they're going through this?
Well, there are a lot of emotions involved with all of this stuff in our house. I did a lot of coursework and continuing education classes on this. And, you deal with a number of clients, people that have ADD, ADHD, hoarding disorder, OCD, but then other people, like you said, that are going through life transitions and are just struggling. Where my heart is at is helping people deal with the stuff. I believe that, you shouldn't be weighed down by your belongings. I can take care of your stuff for you. I want you to focus on your family or your job or your children or your dog or whatever it is. But I also do I don't want to say I do counseling, but I really take the time to get to know my clients. We do a really extensive interview when we first start, so I can understand, where they're coming from, their family status or their mental health status or their budget. I mean, there are a number of different things that we talk about during our consultation, so I can understand not only how can I organize their closet or get their parents' estate cleared out, but how I can serve them to help make their life just a little bit better, because that's why I'm in this.
Okay, great. So is there one type of organizing that you find that you do more, or, the jobs? Or?
Yeah, I would say right now, a lot of my business is with realtors that have clients that have lived in homes for 30, 40, 50 years. And the client is getting ready to downsize or move in with their family or has had health concerns, and the realtor needs help getting that house cleared out so it can be ready to go on the market. So I will work with people as far as a year out to 2 weeks before it goes on the market.
Wow.
I'm decluttering it, staging a little bit, and then after the house goes under contract, I'm then helping them get the stuff to their new place.
When you are decluttering and everything, where does the unwanted stuff, what do you do with some of the unwanted things?
Louise, there's so much of it. There's so much of it. Well, first of all, during the consultation, I always ask if they are looking to sell their items, if they are looking to donate. The secondary market for used furnishings and things like that isn't very strong right now. There's a huge glut in the market of what I call brown furniture. So the dining tables, the buffets, that sort of thing. And what I try to influence my clients to do is to donate. To donate to the best matching local charity. I have several local charities that I work in close concert with to get the items paired up into the right organization. I'm not just calling a truck from Goodwill or Salvation Army, and no disrespect to either of those organizations because they do great work in the community, but I really focus on finding the best match. So whether it's your towels and your linens that came out of the house that someone's had for 20 years, those can go to the Humane Society for bedding for the animals.
Yeah.
There's really, my goal is to put as little in the dumpster as possible. I want someone else to benefit from the things that are leaving someone else's home.
Yeah. Very good. So if somebody wants to know more information or maybe set up an appointment with you to talk to you, how can they get a hold of you?
Thank you for asking. You can always reach me at on my website. It's sageorganizingco.com. You can call me at 704-906-9242, or you can email me at candy@sageorganizingco.com.
Very good. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and being my guest this month on Wednesday with Weezy. And to all of you, I hope that you've learned something. Maybe Candi has been able to brainstorm something in you and you have a need for her and you can make contact with her to come help you get some things organized. So once again, I want to thank you, Candi, for being this month's guest.
For having me on, Louise. I appreciate it.